President's news conference yesterday got a bit contentious as we move to politics now.
Have you sought assurances from him that he will hold off on a ground invasion into Gaza until the safe release of the hostages can be assured?
No. What I have indicated to him is that if that's possible to get these folks out safely, that's what he should do. It's their decision. But I did not demand it. I pointed out to him, if it's real, it should be done.
Aren't these hostages in jeopardy if there is a ground invasion?
You want to make a speech? No, look, obviously they're in jeopardy. The question is whether or not there's any way of getting them out. And if we can get them out, we should get them out.
Well, as you know, there's controversy over President Biden's decision to lump together the money and aid for Israel and Ukraine. The two wars are very different, and they actually involve very different situations and very different enemies. Republicans say expect changes to that $106 billion aid request from Biden.
I don't think there's any reason to hold up aid to Israel, a longtime ally and partner that's facing an existential threat over disputes about Ukraine.
That funding needs to be discussed separately. Ukraine needs to have their funding discussed separately. We desperately need some transparency there. We know that Israel needs certain things, as I say, if it sails, if it shoots, if it flies, if it spies, and Israel needs it, we need to get it to them right now.
Senator Ron Johnson, a Republican from the great state of Wisconsin, serves on the Homeland Security, Governmental Affairs, and Budget and Finance committees. Senator, expeditiously the money needs to get to Israel. But you know how you get what you want if you're the president? You roll it in with another project.
Well, first of all, in the case of support for Israel, that's not true. If they roll that into a spending package where there are more controversial items, it's going to delay this support for Israel. So that's why conservatives have been calling, Republicans have been calling to separate those things out. I hope the House, now that it's back in business, we talked to House conservatives last night, they'll pass a Israel-only funding package, hopefully pay for it. We suggested pay for it with some of the green energy boondoggle spending. But get that over to the Senate, and let's get that passed. Israel needs the support. Let's not bog it down with the more controversial spending items.
Well, we're about to find out if the president, how he sees the situation. If Ukraine actually is equal to Israel somehow in his eyes and in his estimation, you're going to call his bluff on mixing these two things together.
Yeah, we had this discussion in our Senate lunch. I think we probably have the votes to deny cloture on the massive supplemental that includes all these things, including about $13–14 billion, not to secure the border, but to make the processing and dispersing of illegal immigrants more efficient. That's how the Biden is handling the border at the crisis.
All of that in one bill?
That's what he's proposing right now.
Wow.
And the fact of the matter is that people made the point, it's a valid point, that the Biden administration and his Democrat supporters in Congress care more about Ukraine's border than our own southern border. So there's going to be a legitimate attempt to tie any funding for Ukraine to real border security, where we actually stop the flow of illegal immigration, not allow 270,000 people come in 1 month through our southwest border. This is beyond a crisis, and it's also a huge national security threat. When you have Hamas calling for days of rage, probably periods of rage, you think in the 1.7 million known gotaways, we don't know who these people are. You think there might be a terrorist or two in that cohort. So we are highly concerned about the national security aspects, and we need to secure our border.
Yeah, well, look, given the new numbers that are coming from the federal government, as far as we know, it would be more than one or two, statistically speaking, that would be here to kill us, just based on those numbers. Senator Chuck Grassley says he has obtained evidence now that shows the FBI received criminal information from more than 40 confidential sources on the Biden family. In a letter, Senator Grassley writes, "There appears to be an effort within the Justice Department and FBI to shut down investigative activity relating to the Biden family. Our republic cannot survive such a political infection, and you have an obligation to this country to clear the air." Senator, that's more than obnoxious. It's dangerous.
Well, unfortunately, we can't trust top officials in the FBI anymore. Their credibility is shattered. You take a look at how they, tormented President Trump when they knew that, for example, the Steele dossier was sourced by somebody they were investigating as a Russian spy, and then they have 40 human sources saying that there's potential criminal activity within the Biden crime family. Senator Grassley and I, of course, laid out the millions of dollars that flowed into the labyrinth of companies designed for money laundering in our report. And the FBI had a program, a scheme to turn all that derogatory information and say that was Russian disinformation. So this is corruption at the highest levels. Way too many people involved in the FBI in this thing. This needs to be fully investigated, and the people that Senator Grassley pointed out in his letter that need to be interviewed, they need to be interviewed, and they need to come clean. We need to clean house in the FBI.
I mean, I called it obnoxious. It's also ego. I mean, they honestly think that they don't have to say anything about 40 pieces of information about one family. If it were you or I, our reputations, our freedom would be taken away. But listen, it's the President of the United States, and that's a greater reason for us to know what was going on at the FBI with all those pieces of information.
But remember that the investigation into Trump was all about if this was true, how that would compromise an American president. Well, they knew it was true about Vice President Biden running for president, and yet they covered it all up. So, no, this is corruption in federal law enforcement. But again, federal law enforcement is the law, so they carry themselves like they are above the law. They are not. That's Congress's role to investigate this, but we need the information. We need more whistleblowers. And in the Senate here, we need subpoena power. Right now, we need Democrats who are willing to investigate this as well. So right now, the subpoenas are going to fly from the House. Pardon?
Are there any Democrats who are willing to step with you in lockstep and investigate?
No, they impeded our investigation of Hunter Biden as well. They claimed that we were soliciting and disseminating Russian disinformation. They were on board. That this had to be a coordinated effort to sabotage our investigation and their own investigation from Democrats in the Senate as well as from the FBI.
Senator Johnson, I want to remind everybody, because you said something, many things that were important, but above all, this is corruption, as you say, at the top of the FBI. There are so many hardworking FBI agents, and some of them are on the ground in Maine today. So what you're doing is you're looking at those that you go after who really have broken the law with what they've done. They've broken the trust of the United States of America. But if they're letting potential criminal acts go, they're breaking the law, too.
No, absolutely. Listen, I believe that most members of federal law enforcement are patriots, and they have integrity. They want to keep America safe. But that's why we need whistleblowers come forward to clean house of the corrupt partisan actors within the higher ranks of these agencies.
All right. It was so great to get you on the program. We've had a lot of breaking news. We touched on it just a bit with our words there and the FBI and the work they're doing. Thank you so very much for taking us through. And now that you have a Speaker in the House across chamber, perhaps we'll see a lot more being done on the Hill to go after whatever those 40 pieces of information are against the Biden family. Senator, thank you very much.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.